Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So first I want to start off by saying Ramadan Mubarak to everybody here and to all of your families. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put barakah in this Ramadan for you all. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to really benefit from this month. May it be a month that we come into one way and come out of better than how we came into it. With that being said, this is a month of the Quran. We're going to be all reciting, inshallah, the Quran, reflecting over the Quran more and more. And with that, I'd like to kind of link a little bit something that I would say, or a series of lectures that I was trying to give before Ramadan, right, which focused on pondering over the religion in a way where the thing that we ponder over would act as a proof or act as a very strong evidence for the faith of Islam. But I want to stick to this that first part, which is pondering over the religion. You know, in this month, because we're going to be engaging with the Quran so much, I'd really like to kind of give an advice about how to ponder over the Quran, or a minimum, right? A minimum set of verses to ponder over. You see, oftentimes when we say, when we remind each other to think about the Quran and ponder over the Quran, it can be hard, I would say, not because it's actually hard to think about the Quran, is that if you don't define the goal, if you don't define kind of what you're going to be thinking over, you run the risk of just kind of not doing it. So if we say, oh brother, it's good to think about the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you say yes it is, and then maybe you think about the next couple ayat that you hear, and then you kind of forget to do it, and then you just it just kind of fades away. And then, slowly you find the whole month kind of passing you by, right? And so instead of trying to have the goal be to think about every single ayah you hear, right, and to think about every ayah in the Quran, I think it's good sometimes to break things down and say, you know what, at minimum, I'm going to focus on a specific set of ayat, right? And so one set of ayat that I think is attainable and easier for reflection, especially if you don't speak the Arabic language, is the stories of the Quran. The Quran is divided into different types of verses, right? If we were to kind of look at the different verses of the Quran, you have verses that focus on fiqh, you have verses that focus on theology, right? The religion. You have verses that focus on specific incidences in the seerah. You have ayat that focus on Jannah, Jahannam, Akhirah, the Day of Judgment. But there's a large number of verses that focus on stories of prophets, stories of the people before us. And I want everybody, if you don't have a goal already about how to think about the Quran, I would say, I think it's easier in a good starting place to say, you know what, every story that comes in the Quran, every story that I encounter, I'm going to reflect on it. I'm going to look and see what are the verses that come before it. What are the verses that come immediately after it? The Shaykh today recited the verses in Surah Al-Shu'ara that pertain to the story of Sayyidina Ibrahim. And you notice very seamlessly, he goes into the story of Ibrahim and his dialogue with his people. And then next thing you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the people of Jannah and Jahannam, right? And what the people will say on the Day of Judgment. And we find that the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shares stories is very different than how human beings share stories. When a person, when one of us shares a story, you give a lot of context, you give a lot of background story. Oh, there's a lot of names, so-and-so said to so-and-so. If you were to read other books of other faiths, you'd find huge biographies, right? And you'd wonder, what's the point? The Quran is not like that. The Quran, there's a lot of stories where you don't even know the names of who's involved. Think of Surah Al-Kahf. We don't know the names of the Ashab al-Kahf. We don't know the names of the three prophets in Surah Yasin. We don't know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't tell us the name of Khidr, right? In Surah Al-Kahf again, right? We learn that from a hadith. And yet, the point is very clear. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes into a story. We learn it's one segment of a story of a prophet's life, right? Only Sayyidina Yusuf really has the whole story from start to finish. And that story, and that segment of that story is really focused to a specific message and meaning. And so we should ponder over what's the point of this specific story right now? What is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala trying to tell me? How can I put myself in the shoes maybe of this person, or put myself in the context of the story? Really try to reflect and dig deep, because out of it come a lot of lessons, and inshallah, for this month, we'll be doing, khatiras and stuff, and maybe we can extract some of those lessons. But each one of us on our own, as we read, as we engage, really try to, whenever you encounter a story, really try to reflect and see what are some lessons I could learn, whether it be the character of a prophet, when Yusuf forgives his brothers, what lessons are there for our own forgiveness, for our family? When Ibrahim talks to his father, and in every verse he says, Ya abati, oh my beloved father, even though that his father is somebody who will eventually be the one who throws him into the fire. What does that speak to about birrul walidain, right? Righteousness to the parents? If one of us is in a situation where we feel alone, think about Musa when he comes out of Egypt and he collapses on a tree, and he says to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that that he is in need of any good that Allah can send his way. These stories are for us to relate to, and subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put within the human being something that really connects to stories. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the best of stories, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that He's the one who reveals ahsan al-qasas. He reveals the best of stories. And so this is something I feel that is really attainable. Its lessons are numerous, as every ayah in the Quran. The lessons and the things that we can learn from are an infinite well from which we can extract knowledge and wisdom from. And so may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to be a people of reflection. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to benefit from this month. And if you don't have a goal for what ayat you're going to reflect on, I recommend to have this minimum goal of that when you hear a story, really do reflect on it and ponder over it, because in those stories are not just nuggets, mines of wisdom. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us a people who have wisdom, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us a people of action, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us and allow us to benefit from this month to its fullest. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.